Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
So if you're expecting two people to ask questions and then us two to give them answers, then you're in the right place. We've got a couple of excellent questions this week, so we'll hear those in just a sec after a reminder of how to get your own question in.
So it remains simple. You can call in on 013 808 0035, or you can get in touch via our website. And of course, you can do this on a desktop or a mobile, and that is propertyhub.net/ask. And Kevin has followed that process to a T and asked us a great question.
Hello, Rob and Rob. My name's Kevin. I've been listening to your podcast for about a year now. I'm very interested in investing up in the north of England. You mention areas like Leeds and Sheffield and Nottingham and the like, but I'm wondering about secondary areas such as Barnsley, for example, or Chesterfield. They seem to have good fundamentals, good links, seem to have good employment prospects and the like. I was just wondering whether they would be influenced by the ripple effect from Sheffield and Leeds. Thanks for all your help, and I look forward to hearing back from you.
Kevin, so many options. I feel your pain. It should be easy because we've talked about the North and the great opportunities it brings, but then the North's a pretty big place. I think where you pick will be down to you as an investor. I think one of the mistakes I certainly made as a property investor early on is being too clever with the cycle, or actually not that clever at all, because I tried to get ahead of the cycle and actually went in way too early. So a prime example of that is I've got an investment in Hull, and Hull I think will do great at some point in this cycle. It's got lots going for it. There's plenty of investment going in to the city, but I went in years ago, far too early. Now, you've got to be careful because you've mentioned Sheffield. Now, if you're not that way inclined and you don't want to be super brave, then you may want to play it safer. But for me, safer is Manchester and surrounding areas because I think there's a lot of legs left there. Places like Leeds and Nottingham, that you've touched on, haven't really started to move yet, and I still think you're early. And Sheffield, I think, is being a bit brave. I'm a big fan of Sheffield, but in years to come. Sheffield hasn't started moving yet. Nottingham and Leeds have, but only just. Sheffield isn't really doing much at all. It will. So this is a lesson for everyone. Don't overthink it. I think Sheffield is amazing as an investment, but it's not gone yet. Just because we talk about it on the podcast doesn't mean it's happened. In fact, it's actually more of a prediction. And yes, we've got a lot of these right in the past, but for some people, they'll just want the certainty of knowing this place is already on the up. So, Kevin, it's up to you now to decide what you do. Do you try and be, really clever and go into some of these areas to get way ahead, or play it safe, or something in between? As far as Barnsley or Chesterfield's concerned, I think both are perfectly fine. That's the trouble with so many options. It makes it difficult to make a decision. But with research and not trying to overthink it, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Okay, let's have a listen to our second question. This one's from Graham.
Hi, Rob and Rob. My name's Graham. Thank you both for the content that you do put out. But I have a question regarding backup funds. For an example, I started on my property journey about 2 years ago now. I've currently got 3 buy-to-let, and I'm hoping to buy another 2 in the next 6 months to 12 months. Now, obviously, when it comes to your funds, you don't want to dry yourself out and spend all your funds because if something does go wrong, you've got no backup funds. So I'm just curious, is there a general rule of thumb of how much to keep aside in case something did go wrong, for an example, if a boiler breaks? And my other part of the question is, how does that change the more properties you get? I'd really appreciate any sort of feedback. Thank you very much.
Graham, I'm going to give you a really unhelpful answer, then I'll give you something a bit more helpful off the back of it. So first, the unhelpful bit. No, there is no general rule of thumb. But I can give you some things to take into account to come to your own answer. The first thing to bear in mind is that it seems counterintuitive, but actually your risk decreases as your number of properties increases. Because if you've only got one property and something goes wrong, so you have tenants who aren't paying or you have some maintenance that needs doing, then that's affecting 100% of your income stream. By the time you get up to 5 properties, which is where you hope to be soon, the chances of having things going wrong in all of those properties at the same time, whether it's tenants not paying or repairs that need doing, is very unlikely. So it's not the case that you need 5 times as much in reserve as if you have one property, and you're actually in a better position because you've got far more diversified cash flow. So really, you just need to work out in your head, what is the likely worst case scenario going to cost you, and make sure that you've got that much in reserve. So there's no point planning for a 1 in a million possibility, but what could you imagine happening if you're pessimistic, and what do you need to do to make sure that you're okay in that situation? That answer is going to depend a lot on the type of properties that you have and the type of tenant profile you have, and that's why it's impossible to come up with a rule of thumb. If you have tenants who are on universal credit, it's far more likely that they're going to end up in some degree of arrears just because of the way it's structured. And if you've got properties that are older, it's likely that they're going to need more maintenance than if you're just investing in new builds. So that's an answer that you have to come to for yourself, and then you just have to make sure that you're covered. You could make an argument that you don't actually need to hold back anything in cash at all, because if you've got a credit card or an overdraft, or you could get a cheap personal loan, then you could cover it that way. That's not something I would necessarily recommend, but it is an argument you could make. Most people, though, are more comfortable just having a lump of cash in the bank, so you can decide where your personal comfort level lies.
Well, that's us done for another week. But if you're craving more, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. You can find it by searching for Property Hub UK. Make sure you subscribe. And of course, you will already be subscribed to the podcast, so you'll find us back in your feed on Thursday with the Property Podcast. And of course, we'll be back next Tuesday with Ask Rob and Rob. So until those momentous events occur, take care, have fun, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.